Shalom, shalom, chaverim. I hope that you're well and that you had a really good week. For me, it's been a very short week. I didn't do everything I wanted to do, but I couldn't allow the week to end without me doing a supplement for you for last Sunday's lesson. Last Sunday's lesson, I started recording very, very late. So we lost about 20 minutes of my prior explanation to what you see in Sunday's video of Aleph Beith. I needed to explain Begat Kefat, the basics of Begat Kefat. I won't go into details with the rules, but I'll explain a few things for now, and um, and you will see why Begat Kefat is important. So let's get started. Let me share my screen here. All right. So let me open a blank piece of paper, I guess, as well, so that I can write a few things. So it's been one of those weeks for me that it was Sunday yesterday, and then today it's already Shabbat. The week's already gone. Well, it's not Shabbat, but you know what I mean. It's like you open your eyes from Sunday and you're already at the end of the week, and I don't know how that happened. But that's what happens, you know. Sometimes time just goes way too fast. And that's what happened to me this week. I didn't do things I wanted to do. All right, so I want to put a resh here. These letters, usually referred to as Begat Kefat, are special consonants in Hebrew. And we saw previously that if I use the conjunction there, which in English is and, as a conjunction, if I say and the earth, for example, in English, I want to say and the earth. In Hebrew, it's going to be, it's going to uva. In Hebrew, it's going to be uva. And the interesting thing here is there's going to be a dagesh where the vav is. So we cannot say hashamayim ve. We can say ve'aretz. It sounds strange. So Hebrew allows us to use the B from Begat Kefat, where we're trying to say in the heavens, bashamayim uva'aretz. So, and in the earth, I forgot to put in here. So, bashamayim, meaning in heavens, and in the earth. Bashamayim uva'aretz. So now there's no dagesh in the beit, right? So in the Begat Kefat, we have the dagesh, and we have a dagesh there, we have a dagesh there, we have one there, we have one there, we have one there. So now, in the spelling of in the earth, I cannot say ve ba'aretz. I cannot say that. I have to say u, and then the diphthong breaks to uva'aretz. Uva'aretz. So this is how Begat Kefat letters interact with how they interact with the conjunction there. All right, so let's try another one. What am I? Uh, in everything, I guess. Uvechol, in everything. I've seen this. Trying to say, and in everything, uvechol. We don't have bechol. There's no dagesh, but instead the beit becomes a veit, and we have uvechol of in everything. So this was just an example. I'm going to rub-a-dub-a-dub this one and get rid of it. And let's look at something very interesting. So we know that the Hebrew alphabet is different from any other alphabet in the world. It carries with it, it is a carrier of holy lights. They say that the alphabet itself, the symbols are not holy, but the symbols carry a holy light. So when we go to Sefer Yetzirah, which are the very foundations of Kabbalah, if you go to a Jewish library like Sefaria, you will get Sefer Yetzirah. And it says there in Sefer Yetzirah that the 22 letters from the foundations of the earth or form the foundations of the earth. So God created, in other words, the world and the universe with these 22 letters. And we know that 22 is associated with the last letter of the alphabet, which is Tav or Tav. And the gematria of Tav means truth, life, death. Now, these 22 letters are divided into subdivisions, these Hebrew letters. They say here there are three mothers, which are the originators, and then we have 7 pairs and 12 simple ones. So all of this, 7 plus 3 is 10, 10 plus 12 is 22. So these 22 letters, according to Kabbalah, they are divided into three mothers, which means original letters that formed the others or form everything that is. And then we have 7 pairs, which are special, and 12 simple ones. In this little supplement, what I intended to put in the beginning of the lesson on Sunday was to present these 7 pairs that are special. So let's go to these 7 pairs. And here they are. Begat, Kefat. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I put Reish in red as a 7th one. That's because the Hebrew textbook has given us, is talking about Begat Kefat, not from a religious point of view, but from a grammatical point of view. But the religious understanding of it gives us Begat Kefrat. Begat Ke, and then I'm going to change colors here. Begat Kefrat. Oh, no, I need the red. Begat Kefrat. All right. So let's have a look at the division of these, sorry, the pairs. It says here, it says in Sefer Yetzirah that there are 7 pairs. Let's discover these 7 pairs. So we have Beit with a dagesh. Without a dagesh, it's no longer a B sound, it's a V sound. It's Veit. And then we have Gimel with a dagesh is a G sound. Gimel without a dagesh has a J sound. It's a Gimel. Gimel. That's the original pronunciation. And then we have Dalet, which is a D sound, but without a dagesh, it takes on a TH sound like the. And then we have Kaf or Kuf. Kaf with the dagesh is a K sound. Without the dagesh, it's a QR sound. Kaf, Kaf. And then we have Pei with a dagesh, which is a P sound. Without a dagesh, it's an F sound. It's Fei. And then we have this mysterious Reish, which the grammar textbook doesn't have, but Sefer Yetzirah says we must take account of Resh as well. And then we have Tav, which is a T sound when it has a dagesh. Without a dagesh, it's a TH sound, it's a th. So let's go see. So the Beith becomes, this is a B sound, this becomes a V sound. This is a G sound, it becomes a J sound. This is a D sound, it becomes a TH sound. This is a Q sound or a K sound, and without a dagesh, it becomes a QR sound. And then we have a pei, which is a P sound, and it becomes a fei, an F sound without dagesh, and then the mysterious reish. And then we have tav, which is a T sound, and it is a th, tav, without a TH sound. Excuse me. So, because modern Hebrew and modern Judaism exists within a strong Germanic culture, the Ashkenazi culture, it's mostly propagated in the Ashkenazi circles. It's not to say that the Ashkenazis are more than any other Jews of color. No, it's not the case. It's been proven that there are more Jews of color than Ashkenazi Jews, but the most prevalent publications by far are from the Ashkenazic world. And the greatest influence today in the Hebrew language is from the Ashkenazic world. So when you read, depending on what your community prefers, you will hear people pronounce Beit as Veit, but you will hear them pronounce Gimel as Gimel the same, with or without Dagesh. They'll pronounce Dalet the same without Dagesh. They'll pronounce Kaf the same without Dagesh. They will also pronounce Tav the same without Dagesh. For example, the word Shabbat, my ancestors did not say Shabbat. My ancestors said Shabbath, Shabbath Shalom, and this is from the Northern Kingdom. Actually, let me just write Samaria. This is from the Northern Kingdom, from Samaria, and this is also from my other tradition, the Yemenite tradition. So, as an Israelite, I identify as an Israelite first, before anything, because I'm a Danite. That's the most important identity in me, because I have the Northern heritage and also the Yemenite heritage, plus a Bantu heritage, because my ancestors ended up in a place called Mbo in Congo before migrating to South Africa, eventually between the 1200s and the 1400s. They arrived in South Africa in the 1400s. So my Northern Kingdom identity is not primal, it's my primary identity. This is who I am. I'm a Danite. And of course, along the way, my family intermarried with Bantu, and then I become a South African, right? In modern terms. So the point of this was not history. The point of this was to share that in my heritage, it's not Shabbat, it's Shabbath. Shabbath, Shalom. But because you are in a modern Hebrew environment, you are going to end up pronouncing all of these more or less the same, except for Beit and except for Pei. You're going to say Veit and Fei, the rest are going to be the same, because that's what mainstream Judaism says or does. For me, in private, when I read the Torah in private, I go back to the original pronunciations of all the pairs that do not have dagesh. I go back to the original pronunciation. All right, so this is basically why we have this Begat Kefrat, because whatever we are going to learn in the textbook, in the Aleph Beit textbook, and also in the Essential Hebrew textbook, which is modern Hebrew, we're going to touch on Begat Kefat or Begat Kefrat. And also, as you learn Kabbalah from the rabbis, the Reish is going to become important. the Begat Kefrat is going to become important as well. So I'm just giving you both sides of the coin. All right. That was the introduction that you missed out on. And I'm going to stop the video here because this is just a supplement for the previous lesson. If I go back to the video itself, I begin to explain some of the things that are explained in the in Sefer Yetzirah. These are just my study notes. But let's go see if there was something introductory that's important. But I think I do explain it in the other video. The one thing we could possibly learn from here, for example, are the meanings of these pairs. I think it's useful to learn the meanings of these pairs. So we have here Beith, which is life. Now I ask myself, why is Beith referred to as life in Sefer Yetzirah? And the answer to this lies in this explanation here. I'm going to do this explanation again. Why Beith is looked at as a life source is because Beith begins its life as a mem. Beith is also known by the rabbis to be a half mem. So when you see Beith, you're also seeing a half mem, right? Here's the flourish of mem, and there's the dagesh. So Beith is a half mem. Mem's numerical value is 40. These are the 4 weeks of gestation or pregnancy. And some rabbis go on to explain that 40 is a number of rebirth. Also, it is water, or water is mayim, right? So life exists before birth in water. So Beith is life, but Veit without a dagesh is death. Gimel or Gamal, some say, Gamal is a camel. And so Gimel is like a camel. It's got this long stretched neck. Is a symbol of peace with a dagesh. It has a meaning of peace or a connotation of peace. When it becomes Gimel without a dagesh, it's evil. And then Dalet with the dagesh is wisdom. Without a dagesh, it is folly or idiocy, stupidity. Kaf with a dagesh is health. But Kaf or Kaf with a QR sound without the dagesh means poverty. And then Pei is beauty because Pei means a face. Without a dagesh over here, it is ugliness or the lack of beauty. And then Reish on its own there, very strangely on its own, Reish is known as a connector. It connects things. It says here it's fertility. It's a symbol of fertility. But also, it can be a symbol of barrenness, infertility. And then we have Tav with a dagesh, which is dominion. And then we have Thav without a dagesh, which means slavery. And then I went on just a little bit explaining, I think, that out of the Begat Kefrat, now with a Reish, the Begat Kefrat, God made the stars of the world and the days of the year, the gates in a person, which means the gates of holiness in a person. And out of these 7 Begat Kefrat plus Reish, he also carved out the 7 firmaments that go upwards all the way to his throne. And the 6th firmament, the book of Yetzer Sephirah reminds us that it is made out of fire and water. As to what that means, you have to read the book. He carved out of the 7 letters the 7 earths. It says the 7 Shabbatot, or the 7 Sabbaths. So the way that my ancestors would have pronounced Shabbatot would be Shabbathot, which means Sabbaths. or Shabbatoth in this case. It is for this reason that God loved the seventh day. It says in Sefer Yetzirah that on the Shabbat, God stopped everything, or uh, loved the Shabbat day over everything under the heavens, because in it he rested and marveled his work, and he called it good. And so the seven earths imply the seven layers of the planet's history. And of course, this is revealed by the fossils that at some stage God tried to create the world that we are living in, but each time a different result came out. And these results form the seven layers of the fossil spheres that we have on this earth. But also spiritually, we know that if we go down the earth 7 levels, we go down another 7 different worlds. All right. So I think this part I actually do explain in the previous video. If I don't, please forgive me. But I hope that you got the gist or the foundation of these 7 pairs. I'm going to record now after this a new segment, which is going to be Sunday's lesson, because on Sunday we have the Torah marathon. So I will not be able to teach any classes on Sunday. There will not be any Hebrew classes, but I'll email you, no worries. Anyways, Shabbat Shalom till the next video. Bye.